Did we?
Mute. Right?
Yeah.
Mute second.
You all.
Hi, good morning.
Hold your peace.
Mute all. And then if you want to introduce yourself?
I will. You share the screen?
Okay.
Will they be able to see me and we can share the screen at the same time? Well, I don't know about that.
Yeah. you're on.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Oh. That's good.
It's good? You can see me and see the screen?
No. I can see everyone else, not you.
Just gotta move your feet.
Maybe I'm just blurred in.
Yeah,
Or
Yeah,
maybe you're just gonna get to listen to my voice.
yeah.
Oh,
And then
no,
we'll,
You know,
okay, great. I just had to jump up and down a couple times.
If you can find it, you can go to speakers view and you will only get Christina on there.
How could you not do that? How could you pass that up?
I can see you, Christina.
All right, great. Well, good feedback from everyone.
Yeah, I see it too.
Perfect, yeah. And you can hear okay.
Yes.
That's it, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll get started. I'm Christina. I'm a physical therapist that works at an outpatient neuro clinic in Syracuse. We're right across from Nottingham High School. It took me like 10 minutes to get here. And we work with people with Parkinson's, with dizziness, balance issues, people who've had a stroke, people who have MS, and I'm working with a couple of young girls that have concussions. So all neurological conditions. We are putting on a freezing of gait program that is funded by the Parkinson's Foundation, which means that there's no copay, there's no messing with insurance about getting visits. We will, I think, need your insurance for the evaluation. And then after that, we don't go through insurance. And we can talk about logistics at the end. But this is also just informative about what freezing of gait is. Pat, you can go to the next slide.
Amazing. Wow.
Oh, you're doing great. Okay, so what is freezing? It is a symptom of Parkinson's. The statistics vary. So it says like from 18 to 50% of people can have it. It presents itself in like different ways. So the definition is that it's a brief pause in walking, despite the intention to keep moving. So people will either freeze, like stay in place, and they have a hard time taking a step to move forward, or they'll say other things. Like I wrote down some quotes from people that I've worked with, like my foot feels glued to the floor, just one of them, not the other. Or sometimes it's both. Sometimes people say that one leg is dragging behind the other, and that it's hard just to get one leg moving, but the other leg is moving pretty well. Someone else told me that they feel like they're taking like really quick, tiny steps, and then they can get going again. And then again, baby steps, and then they can get going. So freezing can present itself very differently. It doesn't just have to mean that you completely freeze, can't move, and then get going again. And if you have any questions, you can let me know throughout. If you want to like raise your hand or ask me a question, you can do that. So freezing can happen with different triggers. So everyone is different. Moving from, let's say, from the mat to the floor, the regular floor, or moving from outside to inside, moving through a doorway, moving from rock to gravel. Any of those can be triggers for freezing because it's a change in your motor plan, and that kind of gets disrupted up to our brain, and it's hard to get through that. Some people, they don't have any issues with those kinds of things, and it happens when they're stressed or when they're in a hurry or when someone is saying, let's go, 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 go. Then all of a sudden they like can't move, or they're taking little quick steps. And there are different strategies to work on different triggers. So that's why it's important to know what your triggers are, so that when you come to me and ask me questions, we can solve them together. Because this program, like what we're doing at the clinic, is very individualized. It's to whatever you need help with. Another thing with like being in a hurry or being stressed, tremor. like tremor can be increased when you get nervous, or when you have to do something with like a lot of fine motor skills, or when you're in a hurry. So that's something that we work on too. Multitasking. Who, raise of hands, has been to the neurologist and they ask you to count backwards from 100 or something by 3s or 7s? Yes. Do they have you do it while you're walking? Or they just have you do it sitting? Walking. Walking. So they're not testing your cognitive ability. They're testing your ability to do 2 things at once, which is one of the tests that we do too. We have you like stand up, walk around a cone while you're counting backwards. And I don't care if you get all the numbers wrong. It's just about your ability to do 2 things at once. And that sometimes can elicit freezing. So it's a screening tool that we have, where I'll be able to know, even if you don't know, I'll be able to see if you're freezing or not, or what the triggers are. Okay, I think that's all the triggers. So prognosis, so that's a fancy word for like, is this gonna get better? Is this gonna get worse? Like, how do I manage this? Freezing can get better, but it's a combination of things. So someone that I'm working with who is in the photos, he was totally stopped freezing, couldn't move. And then he talked to his neurologist and changed from like a dopamine agonist drug to carbidopa levodopa, and that helped. So like there's a big medication piece to this. On and off times can affect freezing, and physical therapy. So there are exercises and there are strategies. So let's think of exercises as like challenges that we can do to help improve freezing, and strategies are things that we can do to cope with freezing, because freezing is going to be persistent. But if you don't have a strategy to get out of it, that's what's going to make it difficult. If you have strategies, if you have 6 that you can pull like out of your sleeve, then you can walk, you can stay balanced, you'll be able to like get through the day, get through life. If you don't have those strategies, it's going to be super frustrating, and you're going to feel like it's going to be really hard to get out of a freeze. And that's super frustrating. So let's talk about strategies. Strategy number 1, this works for nearly everyone. It's called the 4 S's. So first is stop. Do not power through a freeze, because powering through a freeze causes little baby steps and then your face plant, which we don't love. Some people also will power through the freeze by pulling through the doorway, which also isn't great, because if you're pulling and your feet are staying stuck, that's going to cause you to tip forward anteriorly. So stop, take a breath, reset yourself. Sometimes that's all people need. Then they go forward and they're fine. Number 2, stand tall. You're going to come into a power stance. If you've ever worked with Liz, she's always in this power stance, puff up your chest, stand up nice and tall. 1, confidence booster. 2, it gets your posture, your head, your spine, all of it in alignment, so that your body has an idea of where it is in space, so that I can continue to function as normally. 3, sway. So this is a huge part of what I do every day. We work on weight shifting. So swaying back and forth. Freezing 90% of the time is happening because of a weight shifting issue. If all your weight's on your right leg, I can't take a step with my right leg. It's impossible. So we stop, we stand tall, we shift our weight. If my left foot is frozen, I shift my weight to my right leg, boom, go. So that works usually with everyone. And we do a lot of activities, which I'll show later, about how we can improve weight shifting, because that can be a really difficult task, which makes sense. If we're freezing and you don't know how to weight shift, it's going to be hard to use a strategy to help. So that's like number 1 thing that we work on. And 4, step. Take a step with your sticky foot. Some people have a stickier foot than others. Some people have 2 sticky feet, sticky hands. Freezing can happen in your upper extremities and your lower extremities. Yes.
I also don't care, is it with it, like a phone state, if you step sideways? You can get your momentum back that way.
Is that something that works?
Okay.
Yeah, because if you step sideways, you have to shift your weight. So that's kind of like the same. That's why if anybody's come to like big class or like exercise class that we do in the morning, we work on stepping forward, stepping to the side, and stepping back. Because yeah, if that can get you to shift your weight to with an appropriate amount and then go, I'm all for it. Yeah. Next slide. Our other exercises and strategies. It's kind of in a simple format, and then I have some pictures to show. So we talked about how exercise is like a challenge, a way to improve freezing. Strategy is something that you can do, like taking a lateral step. Taking a side step is a strategy to get you out of it. We talked about weight shifting, so swaying side to side. Agility ladders. It's not on this page, it's on the next page. But agility ladders have like a bright line dividing each square that give you something to step over and step over and step over, which helps you increase your movement amplitude. So like your step length, instead of taking those little baby steps, you take nice and big steps. And a lot of times we'll put an agility ladder in the hallway and not in the second half of the hallway, and have people carry over that skill so that they can practice. Because some people have a really hard time just walking down the hallway without anything on the floor. All of a sudden I put this huge complicated agility ladder in, and boom, 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 boom. There they go. So then we just practice over and over and over and over again. Practicing doing two things at once. So I work with people on the treadmill and we play taboo, or we play card games, or we play something. I will throw stuff down on the treadmill to have you step over so that we worked on your reactive balance. We got very creative and it's super fun. That kind of leads into high intensity cardio. So we'll do cycling, or we'll do like 15 seconds as fast as you can, 45 seconds slow, 30-30. Whatever ratio works for you, try to get your RPMs up really fast. And sometimes that's all people need. You know, you get a nice little adrenaline rush and like a runner's high, and your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up, and then you're walking out the clinic way faster than you came in. And the power moves. So Parkinson's conference, was everyone there pretty much? A lot of you guys. So the moves that Liz did up on stage, those are the power moves. So it's all about like big amplitude movements, getting the tremor out of your hands, coming back in, stepping. Increasing force production is a really beneficial tool for freezing. Strategies.
Christina, before you leave exercises, what about just walking? Going out from your house and just walk? Is that of any benefit for freezing?
Yes. I will never tell someone not to go do that unless it's not safe. But it would be helpful to use a strategy for walk. Because if you're walking and freezing and walking and freezing and walking and freezing, that's going to create like a negative attitude about walking, because it's going to be so frustrating, which it makes sense. I understand why that would be frustrating. So that's why like using a strategy while you're doing that and practicing and overcoming a freeze, even if you freeze 5-10 times within a block, if you can use a strategy every time, then that creates a really positive experience. And so much like that'll create a lot of autonomy and independence for you. Like you don't, you know, some people say like, Christina, like I hear your voice at home telling me to do that. And then I did it. And then like I got through the freeze on my own. And I was like, that is so cool. And then 2 weeks later, they don't hear my voice anymore because they can tell themselves that. So it's really empowering.
So I might be getting ahead of you, but that first strategy,
Yeah.
I'm going to sound with a strong beat. So we're doing that electro skip.
Yes.
So if they were doing electro skip and walking, that may be some benefit. Okay.
Yes. That would be great. Because humming a song with a strong beat, just music in general, will light up a different pathway than the pathway that we're used to. So sometimes like if you've been to a wedding or something and they put on the Cupid Shuffle or some sort of like cha-cha slide or Cotton Eye Joe, your body kind of just knows what to do. You don't have to think like, oh, I have to turn, I have to step, I have to open up. It's more automatic. So if we can use music as a strategy, if that's something that like relates to you, then we're going to use it because it's a completely different motor pathway. Some people say, the humming a song. So someone, I don't know who it is, sings Sweet Caroline, they say bump, 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 go. And that's what helps them step. Or they'll do like bump, 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 go. Boom, they're out of a freeze.
Being a Yankee fan, I would not recommend that.
Using your brain. Mhm.
Can I ask
Yeah,
a
because
question and
that's where
say something?
The issue lies. Yes. What is that?
This is Walt Dixon.
Hi,
You hear me, Christina?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. I turned my video off, but
Yeah, I just can't see you. That's okay.
well, I can put it back on if you want. I was gonna say, anybody that's seen me in the gym, so it sees freezing to the nth degree. I have it bad, really bad. And Pat Van Beveren's been helping me a little bit, and some of the stuff helps me, but I gotta get into your program big time. I have it really bad. Really bad freezing.
Yeah, how about you send me an email?
I don't know where to send you an email.
Or give us a call. You definitely have,
We have a
definitely
car
called
here.
before.
I'll call you.
Okay.
If anybody's looking for an example of freezing, anybody see me there, sees me freeze a lot. You know,
Okay, watch Walt for freezing. Yeah, but you can run around like no other.
sometimes,
Well, after surgery, it's more challenging.
sometimes. No, I don't run around. Not recently, I don't, not in the gym. Like last night, I was in there for the PT, the 4:30 PT. And
Yeah.
Karen started things and I couldn't get over to, I did the stretches behind the counter. And then I couldn't get past the counter over to the bag to start boxing until they were done with 2 rounds of boxing. I froze, couldn't move.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
So
well,
anybody see me, see a good example of it. If anybody
we'll
knows me.
keep that in mind. Yeah, give me a call.
I will, Christine. I think I called your cell phone this morning.
My cell phone. Okay. All right, so after the humming a song with a strong beat, counting down, 3, 2, 1. I have a young lady that does that. She also will close her eyes. She'll close her eyes and then count 3, 2, 1, go. And then she's able to go. Mental imagery, so closing your eyes and taking a step. That I've used with conjunction of the agility ladder. So I'm like, imagine the green ladder, like close your eyes, imagine the ladder and walk. And then she can walk down the hallway that she wasn't able to walk before. So it's frustrating because you have to keep telling yourself to do these things that you didn't have to do before. But the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. Just like anything. I cannot go play soccer right now because I have no idea how. If I practice it, it'll become more automatic. And you guys just have to relearn things. But it does become more automatic when you practice. Or
You find it goes away then? You practice and practice, practice, and would go away? Breathing?
I don't, will it go away? It depends on what the skill is. So if it's freezing, no, freezing is not going to go away. But you will have 5 strategies that you can use to overcome freezing and get through it rather than getting stuck for 30 minutes at a time. Yeah. Using a laser light. I don't know if you guys have seen any around here, but we definitely have lots of people with like a U-step walker and they have a green light or walk around with a cane with a green light. Seen that? That gives you something to step to. And it makes that like neuromuscular connection easier because you don't have to think, oh, I'm going to step here or like, how big should my step be? The line tells you, this is how big you need to go to. It kind of like cuts that circuit a little bit shorter. The laser light uses the same like pathway as using bright tape on the floor. So I have people that can't get through like doorways and you just put a nice big orange piece of tape on the floor, they step over it, bada bing, bada boom, they're in the door. Rather than pulling through and tipping forward, which I don't love. So the next slide has, Pat, can you skip? He's there, he's on it. Can you change the slide? So the next slide has, okay, it doesn't look like a bright piece of tape because I use black and white ink, but on the wood floor, that bar that goes across, that's not molding. That is a piece of, I think it's pink or orange tape. that someone used in their house so they could step over. That's a strategy, not an exercise, but it works. The laser light is that guy on the bottom right. It's a green light that shines out from this little doodad, and you can put it on your cane or your walker to help you step. Cycling, so we talked about high intensity exercise and this computer game. So it's hard to see, but that squiggle wormy line in the middle is where your weight is. And the box is where you want to get your weight to. So we put you on this like balance beam, shift your weight over to the right. Your little wormy guy goes over to the box. To get in the box, you get a check mark for that. And then you come back other side. We'll do forward, we'll do back, we'll do diagonal, we'll do random targets. They pop up all over the place because you might think that you're shifting your weight, but it's not enough, which often happens in Parkinson's, right? Everything kind of gets smaller. So you're going to shift your weight all the way back to try to get that bar target and then all the way to the other side. That's like a really helpful tool for freezing. Okay, next slide are my two friends, both working on freezing. You may know these folks. So my guy Ron on the left, he is working on taking steps to that pink line that's up on the screen. See those circles I made? With his left foot, because his left foot is his sticky foot, and he's working on getting to the pink line, getting to the pink line, getting to the pink line, getting to the pink line. In the other circle is Wordle, and he is playing Wordle while he is on the treadmill. He is very good at Wordle, except for this one time we were on the treadmill for like 17 minutes because we would not quit until we got the word. But he's working on two things at once. So he's doing it in a safe environment. Like I'm with him, he's attached to the treadmill. Things get wild and crazy, the treadmill shuts off. But we're working on doing two things at once as an exercise so that he can practice, so that he could take big steps as he's walking and talking, or walking and he's like a lacrosse coach. He's got to be able to manage like lots of things at one time. My friend Tom on the right there is using the agility ladder. We have that one. We have a orange and black one. I like this one because it's like nice and big. And he's working on taking larger steps because his freezing is a shuffling kind of freezing where he's walking like this. This is not safe when there's twigs or rocks or carpet on the floor at home. So we're working on taking big steps and powering through so that he doesn't make, he calls them click clacks when he steps on the agility ladder and makes a little noise. So we try to get 100% no click clacks. So those are, you know, real life examples. Pat, you can go to the next slide. I have some frequently asked questions about the program. So who is it for? People who have freezing. What if I'm not sure if I have freezing? Well, you can email me. That's my email address. You can call the clinic. We can talk about it. But we can also, you can come into the clinic for an evaluation and we will assess for freezing. We will look at your balance, your functional mobility, which is like how you get around your house or the community, and the quality of your movement. So usually in Parkinson's, it's smaller and slower. Will this program only work on freezing? What if I have pain or balance issues that I want to improve? No, if you have pain, I'm going to ignore it and I'm going to cause you to have 10 out of 10 pain and we're only going to work on freezing. No way. Of course, we're going to take that into consideration. We're physical therapists. So we're going to work on modifying exercises so that they're not painful for you. We're going to work on pain modulation. We'll work on exercises and strategies to reduce pain or like help with any other issues that you have. If you have freezing and gait, you're likely to have balance issues. So we're going to work on all of those things. Sometimes the sessions with people in this program and people without look the same because some people that I'm seeing twice a week, they also have freezing. They're just not in this program because there's a time commitment for the program. So this is just a really good opportunity to have like an intensive physical therapy one-on-one time. Next slide, logistics. So I talked about time commitment, which is tough. And I know this. This is just what the evidence, so like people who have done research say will help. 4 times a week for 4 weeks. So it's 1 month. It's super intense. It's 50-minute one-on-one sessions. We take breaks. It's not like, we're go, go, go the whole time. I am not cracking the whip as other people might say that I am. But we have a really good time. And if you want to work with occupational therapy or speech therapy, you can do that for 1 out of the 4. Some people have freezing of speech or freezing like of their upper extremities, so that can like qualify you to see one of the 2. I'm a really big advocate of seeing more than one discipline. We have all 3 in the building. So some people will come, like they'll see me and then they'll see the OT, or they'll see me and then they'll go to speech. So now they don't have to go to 2 separate appointments, 2 separate days, like 2 separate places. They'll just come here, bang, bang, boom, done. And they get like different perspectives on how they're doing. Because I don't know as much about speech therapy as Catherine does, who came last week. The program also offers pictures and videos of exercises with instruction and demonstration, a reassessment that measures progress that'll be sent to your healthcare team, and a workbook that's filled with strategies for overcoming freezing. And if you have any other questions, you can ask them now. No copay, baby.
About 2 years ago, I came up with the idea that maybe I could meet in self-hypnosis. There's a lot of things I freeze when I'm in a situation where there's a lot of people.
I'll repeat the question.
Please do.
Mhm.
I was wondering, if you were even anticipating this and going to the back. Reading that. Yes, I came up with the idea of trying to find a hypnotist, psychologist, well, some specialized. Then for the COVID and this.
So he's, what's your name? Ralph? Ralph just asked a question. He talked about how his freezing happens in like stressful environments or busy environments, or even in anticipation of a doctor's appointment. And how a hypnotist or some sort of like mindfulness practitioner can help with that, or what I know about it. So our perspective, I'll say not as much like hypnotist. I don't know anyone in the area. We haven't recommended that. But we talk about mindfulness a lot, or like meditation, yoga, deep breathing, like using that as a strategy. And I think that we spend so much time every day doing something, like we're rarely doing nothing, and like being with ourselves. So I think that if everyone, it's part of the workbook, it's like the last quarter of the workbook, can spend a little bit more time with themselves in like mindfulness, like meditation or yoga or Tai Chi and journaling. So like even writing down like how you're feeling, what you're feeling about it, and like kind of letting it go can be something that's really helpful with like reducing anxiety before going to something stressful. I've seen that be really helpful, and I just graduated school in May, and like half of the research articles that were about like Parkinson's and mindfulness were about how meditation practice and deep breathing can help. So I have info on that, not as much about the hypnotist, but I might look into that because that's interesting.
I think you're on the right track, though. I think that's a good idea. I would be interested in looking in the literature to see if there are any articles on that.
Yeah.
But you think of that central nervous system, it fires at a certain level, depending on what you're doing. And maybe freezing is up here. So as Christina said, we're busy all the time and we're doing a lot of things. Your resting level is close to that freezing. If you're here and you do the meditation, the breathing, the mindfulness, and you drop the activity in your system down here, it's much harder to get to this freezing up here. So it does like quiet the central nervous system. Why is your freezing better, Ralph? Do you have any idea? I'll tell you, last year, I think
Right,
last
up
year,
in the chair.
when we were here, right before you went
I
south,
jumped up on your chair. The minute you left the room, he sat there looking around, and he lay down on it, or curled up till you came back in.
yeah,
But the other crazy thing last year was I couldn't walk forward, but I could walk backward.
And Walt couldn't walk, but he could run. It's nuts. It's crazy how our nervous system works.
One day,
Mhm.
my brother-in-law and his wife. I walk in, no problem. You have to walk out, I can't move. Unless I went backward. So they had to literally gag me out of the restaurant. Just, I told everybody, I said, I was the guy who invented the Michael Jackson moonwalk.
Nice. Yeah, it's,
It was crazy.
it is crazy.
When I got back to Syracuse, I went to see a neurologist, Dr. Gait. He tweaked my medication and it stopped it almost immediately.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what happened with my my guy Ron. He also felt super stuck and then changed his medication. So medication plays a big role. And when you're either on your off time or the medication isn't helping as much as it was previously, that's when this kind of stuff is handy.
and there are some examples in the literature where anti-anxiety medication improves freezing. You know,
Yeah.
which again addresses that the more anxious you are, the more likely you are to freeze.
Mhm.
That's the way it was. And it still is. You go through an airport to get to the gate.
Yeah.
Maryland gets me a wheelchair.
That's very common. That I talk about, the different triggers for freezing, but I would say that every single person that I've worked with, the more anxious they are, or the more complicated I make the task, the more freezing they have. It's part of the game.
Do you have anything to say about upper extremity freezing?
As far as like strategies or exercises?
Yeah, or how it relates to lower, or why some people get that and not lower, or get both, and
So a lot of people will come in and they'll say like, my arms feel really weak or like my legs feel really weak. And it's not about strength. It's not about weakness. It's about like this lack of dopamine in our bodies, because dopamine is that like neurotransmitter. That's like, you can think about it as like it goes between the neurons that go boom, 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 all the way down to your body. When you have less dopamine, you have less connectivity. So I do not know why it happens in upper extremities versus lower. I don't think that there is an answer about why it's affecting some people in their arms more than their legs. So it'll happen like putting on a jacket where like they can get one arm in, but then they can't get the other arm in. Or if they're like meal prepping, trying to do any like upper extremity task. What we focus on with that is weight bearing. So giving your body more input about where it is in space. So we'll do a lot of exercises on hands and knees, just like you do here in the warm up and cool down. I love hands and knees. It's such a good way to get more input to your body. Because of like decreased dopamine, sometimes you don't know where your limbs are in space, which is crazy. And that's why some people have a lot of like extra movement, like movement that's not necessary to have, but it kind of just like keeps you balanced and keeps you going. I will put a weighted vest on someone or have them hold dumbbells. And then they're like, oh my gosh, here are my hands. Like, here is my body. Let's walk. And they're walking with a lot more fluidity. So it kind of all comes down to dopamine. Yeah.
any questions at home?
From the peanut gallery.
Oh, no copay.
You got
Yeah,
one add.
when you got a chance, I'll ask a question.
Go ahead, Walt.
All right, well, what I was gonna say is, well, how long is this program gonna go on for, Christina? I know it's a 4-week program if I start it, right?
It's a 4-week program when you start, but we're going to be offering it until the summer.
Oh, good, that's good, because I don't want to, I don't want to start till after Thanksgiving week
No rush.
with my hunting,
I don't want to get in the way of your hunting, that's for sure.
right? But thank you, and I was gonna say something else here, this new drug I'm taking here that, I just saw my neurologist wanted me to see a psychiatrist to see if I was, having depression or what I was having, and I just talked with the psychiatrist, and she put me on this medication, QUETIPINE, I don't know what it is for me. Anyhow, I read about it, and it's supposed to be, she said I had anxiety issues more than depression, and it's supposed to help me with anxiety. And by golly, I've been walking better since I started taking it. I didn't stop freezing though. I've been walking better. Pat saw me walk more. But yesterday, when I was there, I had a bad session. I had 2 good days, and all of a sudden I went bad yesterday.
Yeah, we're gonna have ups and downs. And that's why I like seeing people 4 times a week, because I see you more, and when you're telling me you had a bad day yesterday, but you're doing great today, they're like, damn, I wish I saw you today on my bad day, because like
Yeah,
I wanted to
yeah.
work on certain things. So that's why the 4 times a week is nice, even though it's a lot.
Cool. Thank you. That's all I had to question.
You're welcome.
Who we talked to about joining like the 4 days a week sessions.
You can call. You can call us. Yeah. Or me.
I feel at times like at nighttime when I don't take my levodopa, carbidopa, that I can feel it in one arm. And I lay in bed and I just have my arm up, and it just lets everything run right down for a good, 20 minutes till I fall asleep. But I know it's kicking in when I feel the tingle.
Did you feel like you can't move your arm, that it's stuck up here?
No, it's just tingling here.
Okay.
And then when I lifted it higher, a little higher, it goes well. But I'll talk to you about that.
Yeah. And I mean, I came here to talk about phrasing and like the program, but most of the people I see 2 to 3, no, 2 people right now for 4 times a week. I see everybody else for twice a week. You can come into the clinic for other things besides freezing. We know a lot about Parkinson's and what you guys are, like how you guys are moving. So even if it's not about freezing, you can still come and talk to me about anything, or call the clinic. You can set up an evaluation and not commit for the 10 weeks, like no, or 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever we decide that we think is best for you. Say like, listen, I came in, I wanted a couple of ideas, and like, I want a couple exercises that I can do at home, and then be on your merry way. Yeah.
Who do I set up an evaluation with? Through Dina there at the office? Do I ask for you? The
Yeah, you call
evaluation, or who does the evaluation? For
Either
example,
me,
I need to speak with somebody there about speech therapy too.
yeah, we have me, Emily and Liz for PT, and Catherine for speech, or you can do telehealth speech with Gabby.
I can do what?
Telehealth speech, so you don't have to do it in the clinic if you don't want.
Gotcha. So who's gonna do the evaluation?
For speech or for PT?
For speech and for your program?
For speech, it depends on if you're gonna do it at home or in the clinic.
No, I'll do it. No, I'll do it at the clinic.
Then you're gonna talk to Catherine Graves.
All right. But who's gonna do the evaluation to get me into your program?
Whoever Dina sets you up with, whoever has an opening in their schedule.
All right, thank you.
Or you
You're
can
welcome.
ask for somebody too, right, if you want.
I
Yeah.
wanna
we
work with
usually don't do
Christina
it that
this
way.
time.
Who'd you work with last time?
I worked with Emily Isles.
Because I was still in school.
That's right, yeah. When I first saw you, I was gonna give you business by giving you
Yeah,
an
I was
extra
at
patient,
Shenango at
but
the time. Just working for free over there.
yeah.
Yeah. Usually
For speech? Because, so, yeah, insurance is frustrating. So it depends on what insurance you have for how much your copay will be and stuff like that.
Yeah, and another thing you have to understand, like Medicare is not Medicare. You have straight Medicare, you can have Advantage, you can have different carriers carrying Advantage. So you really need to check up front if you want to know before you get the service, say, this is my plan, how much is it gonna cost me? Because they are, you
This room
can't
is
just say
making
I
a lot
have
of sounds.
Medicare.
This
What
room
did
is
you say
making
about
sounds.
Medicare?
Hmm?
What did you say about Medicare?
Medicare, there's straight Medicare, but then there's Advantage plans.
Yeah,
And the
Someone's
Advantage
phone's over
plans,
there.
well, if you get an Advantage plan from United, it might not be the same as Excellus is.
right.
So all of those plans are different also. So when you call the office and you say, I have Medicare, that doesn't help them knowing how much it's gonna cost you. You gotta say, I have an Advantage plan with Excellus. You know, how much is that gonna cost me?
Okay.
Yeah, and like we do a lot of work with insurance companies and it's super frustrating. So like we really do our best to communicate with them. But like it's also on you guys to check in with your insurance company and say
Yeah.
like, what are you gonna pay for? How many visits can I get? Like, what if I want to keep going? I have Parkinson's, like lay it out and talk about it, because we get people, like I will write an appeal, like after somebody gets denied, they're like, I want to see them 10 more times, they say no. And then I write a whole letter to Blue Cross Blue Shield. I'm like, this is why I want to see this person. Give them back to me. So it's like a whole thing. But we also do cash based. So you can come in and just pay cash out of pocket, which is way more money, but way less of a hassle. So just, you got to pick your poison.
All right, first, I have to stay here till 5 o'clock. I don't know what's making that noise, but none of you guys,
just said it.
Aflac,
who?
Aflac insurance, if we, you guys.
Oh, I was just gonna say, none of you guys are leaving. I'm not sitting here alone. with whatever that is. But secondly, I want to thank Liz because it's her practice and Christina for being here. And I do want you folks to know, we've had a relationship with Liz since the beginning. Liz does the bowling in the park, the big and the loud through us. Those are our programs that we're paying her to do. Our long-term plan is that we are in the same building. And when Christina said, you know, you can come to their place for PTO teams, they're all in the same place and that's convenient. You know, we plan eventually to have everything on a single site, including physician, dentist, caseworker, all of those things. If we can get to that point of having enough money to purchase a building. We have the plans, we have the floor plans, we have the people on board who are going to, you know, have expressed interest in coming in with us. So all we really need is first the money and then the available space. Yeah,
That's all. That's all. Easy
You
peasy.
know, well, it kind of is because money, there's a lot of money in Syracuse. In the next 10 years, $50 billion will switch hands. People dying and leaving their estates, $50 billion. You know, all we need is 2 million to fall off the table. And we're set.
Just pick it up, scrape it off.
So keep your ears open for that. All right, thank you guys at home.
Thank you very much.